When I was a kid, all I could think about is what I wanted to do now, in the present moment. And that often was scrolling, playing video games, staying at home, eating junk food, masturbating, and basically all the bad habits. And so I was doing what I felt like doing, what was making me happier in the moment, but that was making me less happy overall. And that's what I'll explain to you now. So, chapter 1, understanding dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter we have on our brain that signals pleasure. When we do a pleasurable activity, dopamine goes from one part of the brain to the other, and that gives us pleasure, a feeling of wanting to do it again. The problem is with addictions, because addictions will release an abnormal amount of dopamine and make you feel a lot of pleasure. Why is that bad? Well, because now your brain will reduce the sensitivity of the dopamine receptors so it can accommodate all the dopamine, because our brain always wants to be, at an equilibrium. So basically, because of this, we have less fun doing normal things, right? Because if in addictions our brain will release this dopamine, and so the dopamine receptor sensitivity will go down, that means we'll have this pleasure. But now if we have this dopamine, the pleasure we'll have will be very, very low. And then normal activities such as going for a walk, reading, spending time with family and friends, all of this becomes incredibly boring, and you just don't want to do it. And this also ruins your focus. I remember, at this time I was trying to read a history book because we had a history test in the next few days. And I remember I was trying to read it, like after every sentence or every 2 sentences, my brain will just wander, and I'll keep reading, but nothing was getting in my brain, right? So I wouldn't remember anything after reading. And this happened so many times. And that's because we are frying our brain with so much information from these high dopamine addictions. This causes addictions, especially mainly because what we're addicted to are the activities that produce a high amount of dopamine. And then it becomes worse because every time we get a lot of dopamine, our brain will reduce the sensitivity of the dopamine receptors. And so we'll need more dopamine to feel the same high. And then we'll always chase more consumption. And this is really bad with drugs, but also with behavioral addictions, such as internet, gambling, video games, etc. So basically, the happier we are now, the less happy we'll be later. What we have to do is to delay pleasure, delay feeling good. Right now, what do I feel like? First of all, sleeping. It's 7 a.m. I woke up to record. I feel like sleeping. Of course, I'd much rather be scrolling, playing video games, eating junk food than doing this. When I'm at the gym, going to the gym, many times I would just prefer to be at home eating KFC or something instead of actually going to the gym. So the idea is not doing what we feel like doing now, but doing habits that will make us feel better later. That's delaying pleasure, delaying gratification. For example, let's say studying. Studying feels bad, really bad now. But if you study now, that means you'll get better grades later, meaning you'll be happier in general later. You'll be proud, you'll be happy, and you'll get basically other real life advantages, such as more options, more careers, etc. Right, so studying is something that feels bad now, but feels good later. Exercise. Basically, it's really hard to find someone that really wants to exercise on a day it's cold, it's raining. But if you force yourself to do so, right after you exercise, your brain actually releases chemicals that will make us feel good, not in the cheap dopamine way, in a better way. And better yet, after you exercise, you get results. Right? So if you go to the gym, you're working out, you build muscle, and in a few months, a few years, your physique will be completely different. And now your baseline of happiness will be higher because you'll be so proud of your body. You'll be so much more confident. With cardio, you'll increase your overall health, which can also increase your mental health at the side, and also make you lose weight, lose fat, and be leaner, which also increase your baseline happiness. With reading, it's boring now, but you'll learn so much useful stuff you can apply later, whether it's for business or etc. And these things will get gradually easier because basically what happens is that your dopamine receptor sensitivity will gradually go back as you stop doing the addictions and you start doing these delayed gratification habits. So reading now can be incredibly boring. But for me, reading is the most basically fun part of the day. I look forward to reading, whether it's fiction or even just business. So that's the point where we want to be, right? And I wasn't always like this. No, I told you this story where I couldn't even read like three lines, and my mind would just wander and I wouldn't retain any information. The same thing happened with studying. I couldn't study. I tried, I would get distracted, I would go on my phone, I would listen to distracting music, and I would get shit grades because of this. With exercising, I hated exercising. I was addicted to video games. I was exercising thinking about the video games. I wanted to stay at home to continue playing. So really, your life needs to be turned to the future and not to the now, right? You need to think of your future self and what he will feel about you. So your future self, you want him to be proud of yourself for the actions you took because you want to take actions thinking about him, not thinking about you. If I tell you to close your eyes and imagine your past self, how do you feel about him? Do you feel proud of the actions he took? Or do you feel guilty, ashamed, angry because he ate the junk food, he went to sleep late nights, he didn't exercise? That's not what we want to feel. We want to think of our future self as the one we're trying to please. And now, this is what I'm teaching you here is delaying gratification, right? This is just one of the pieces, one of the actions you can do to actually improve your mental health, right? So if you're interested, I have a full course in the description. You can check it out. There's a bunch of things, exercise, meditation, diet, everything complete. You can check it out later, right? So how do you do this? Let's go on to the practical steps. How can you actually start delaying gratification, right? How can you think of your future self? So first of all, I like to change a little bit of your mindset, right? Because I think that's very important. So first of all, I like to change your mindset, right? So I want you to think of your future self as almost an identity, a character that's inside your mind. So imagine your goals you have for the future. Let's say you want to build muscle, you want to grow in business, you want to get the career. And then imagine what he would look like. Now imagine he's in your brain right now and he's telling you, you have a decision. Should I do this or that? And I want you to imagine him telling you, yeah, do this. No, don't do this. And I want you to imagine every time you do a bad habit, almost as if he's slapping you. And if you do a good habit, imagine him congratulating you, telling you he's proud of the action you took. Every day you're confronted with a choice. Should I do this? Should I do that? What would future me be proud? What would he do? What would he want me to do? And ask yourself these questions when you're faced with a decision where you just don't know. What would future you, the perfect version of yourself, do in this situation? Now, practically, what does this mean? So, I would recommend you do two things right for the next weeks. So, choose one bad habit, one addiction that is giving a lot of dopamine, but reducing your dopamine receptor sensitivity, making you feel worse in general. And one habit that is delaying your gratification, so that is increasing the sensitivity of the dopamine receptors. So these are two main habits you should have in your brain, in your mind right now. So we want to reduce as much as possible the bad habit, right? So use strategies to try to do it less and less. And try to do more of the good habit. So let's say the bad habit is scrolling and the good habit is reading. We want to reduce our scrolling as much as possible and increase our reading as much as possible. In this case, you can actually replace one by the other. At the times where you would scroll on your phone, you can have the Kindle app on your phone and actually read some fiction. I'm not telling you to read philosophy or any hard books. You can actually just read fiction, Harry Potter, or basically any fiction book you'd like, since it's more fun, but it's a different form of fun than the scrolling. And I won't lie to you, it will be hard for the first few days. But as you gradually do it, it will become much, much easier, right? So decrease one bad habit, increase one good habit. And after a few days, a few weeks, when you've been pretty consistent, you can do this with another thing, right? So you can say, okay, I've stopped scrolling, but I still eat junk food. Well, let's try to reduce your junk food consumption and at the same time increase your exercise a little bit. So maybe you say, okay, I generally eat junk food at night, right? So try to reshape your habits to decrease the likelihood that you will eat junk food at night, and then start integrating exercise either at night if you can, but if you can't, maybe in the morning you wake up, you do, so do some push-ups, maybe you go for a walk, maybe you go to the gym. Basically, you're just trying to reduce the bad habits and increase the good habits. And this is very important. This isn't going to feel good now or the next few days. If anything, it will feel worse. But that's the thing. We are delaying gratification. So we are trying to make our future self happy and proud. And our future self will be in the long term, right? So I'm trying to make you think in the long term here. For example, the gym. If you start going to the gym, right now it will suck. Okay, it's hard, you're pushing. Then tomorrow you'll be sore, it's hurting, it's bad. And from one workout, your muscles won't change. But if you do this consistently over a few months, you will see changes and you will be happier in general. Because you've stopped eating junk food, you've started exercising, you've lost some weight, you've gained some muscle. So that's really, really important. And this is the action step I wanted to take. Try to do this visualization with your future self to make better decisions and start decreasing your bad habits and increasing your good habits. Thank you very much. I really hope this has helped you, and I'll see you soon.